All right, we are live. Greetings, fellow traders. Hope everybody had a blessed and wonderful weekend. And let me get this tweeted out so everybody can join in here. 1 second. All right, awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. All right, well let's get started. So so hope everybody had a great weekend, and here we are. We're starting a fresh series here on day trading option flow. So this is cool. We're going to attempt to try to break this down a little bit for some of the things that we look for with flow and option activity to help us get confidence in trades and look for trades and see maybe ideas that are setting up. Today we're going to talk about unusual option activity, or UOA, unusual option activity. Before we do that, everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice, so please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, first we're going to take a look and see where we left off with the market on Friday, and then we're going to take a look at the futures and see what we've got setting up for tonight going into tomorrow, and then we'll take a look at the topic, and then we'll take questions and chart requests. Now, we are going to try to wrap up as early as possible. I'm going to try to get done by 10 o'clock through all the chart requests and everything like that, so we can all attempt to get a little bit more rest as we head into a fresh trading week this week. So let's get started. So SPX. Okay, well, so we are starting a brand new month tomorrow. So the month of July finished strong, finished green, so that's good. Pushing up into this open gap right on the weekly chart. So pretty cool stuff, really. If you think where we came from the Corona crash, that gap was right there from the Corona crash. And then we got this nice bullish engulfing candle with RSI oversold, and then we just basically worked our way up since then, right? Kind of a little consolidated a little bit here. Inside week here at the 30 weekly moving average, and here we are testing into this gap. So inside week last week on the SPX, and so now we're going to see if we can push over these highs and get over this shooting star candle high for a tail fail upside to maybe try to fill this gap here on the weekly chart, which would be really cool. Daily chart, we're pretty interesting stuff, right? So here's that open gap right there. Definitely a lot more information here on the shorter term time frame. But you can see right here we crossed below the upward trend line for a little bit, forming a fresh trend box here based on this breakdown, and then we have worked our way up, right? So it was actually a really, really choppy week. We had some great moves and some amazing moves on some, names like Apple, things like that on Friday. So Apple pretty much, really helped draw the whole market up right here, and we ended up with a Dragonfly Doji right slightly above the upper trend line right here, and maybe we'll get a push over the trend box, which is that tail fail high. That'll shift our trend line over, and then we'll be back to bullish until proven otherwise. See if we can get this gap filled. And golly, look how far we've come, almost back to all-time highs. It seems like just yesterday. Hard to believe it's been like 4 months, almost 5 months since since those lows, but it just moved. Every day is a new day, so we just keep going with it. So good stuff. So there's the SPX. I would say with the price action we saw on Friday. So pretty wild stuff, guys. They bought the dip hard on Friday, so it's pretty cool stuff, right? So now, guys, don't forget. Right, every day we gap, which is often on the S&P. There's always a probability, like at least a 60% probability that a gap is going to get faded. Right, so that's exactly what happened here on Friday. So we gapped up. Right, everything is awesome. Right, so we gapped up right here, and then we faded that gap pretty hard. Right, filled the closing gap right here off of these candles. Right, making a nice short. Then we kind of came into this buying pressure area right here. We came back up to the 15 order below, and there was a flush opportunity right here again. And then they bought the dip. Right, here's a powerful candle right here. Slight pullback. Right, maybe 61.8, maybe 76 retrace right here of that candle, and then boom, a big push to the upside right there as Apple really started to break out, and things just started to move, and they pushed it up here. Huge on the MOC, by the way. We talked about it recently. It was like 1.4 billion on the MOC buy side, so that gave a little bit of confidence here for a potential push to the upside. But we'll see how that carries through going into tomorrow, right? We'll take the futures in a minute right here. Here's the levels that we provide our members right here. I love these volumetric levels right here. So those got held really well, in addition to some of the other levels that we provide our members before each market open, right? So we got a nice move right here. 2B reversal off of this guy, right, from move up, retest, and then just shot our way up on Friday. Just really, really cool stuff there on the SPX. So let's take a, hopefully this is all coming through, guys, okay? Because remember last time I didn't put it through. All right, so that's good. So S&P futures, let's take a look at those tonight. So this is going to give us a good clue what we have tomorrow. So pretty cool stuff, right? So look where we pushed this morning. We pushed right into the highs, right, from really late, like Thursday night, right? Sort of like these highs right here, right? So you can see this whole we just tagged that right first thing, right, a quick push up and then back down. Now we're slowly working our way up right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a couple trend lines up tonight to see how they hold throughout the evening and see if that gives us, some nice opportunities. In fact, I think that's pretty good right here. It's really like a kind of like a V reversal right here. So let's see if we can get back over those highs and see how this trend line holds through tonight. Other than that, we'll be evaluating that in the morning and seeing what we have to deal with then. So fresh week ahead. Again, we got a lot of big earnings behind us last week. Pretty cool how they did the big four of the FANG all in one day, all in one night. Facebook, Amazon, Apple, and Google, right? All with big earnings on Thursday night, and then they gave us a nice, push up off of that. So, some cool stuff there. And Apple, of course, just dragged the way up right there. So anyway, good stuff. So we'll see how that goes into tomorrow. Okay, good. So let's take a look at the topic here this week. So this week we're going to be talking about day trading option flow, and today we're going to be looking at unusual option activity. Right. So there's a couple ways that this flow comes in, and what I want to do is show you just one that I like here on the. I'm going to go to barchart.com. Okay, so on barchart.com, they give you an update every day. If this is free. So, I'm not pushing anything or anything like that. Just, it's free. Now, if you want to go back historically, I think they make you, subscribe. I think you get a 1-month free trial, whatever the case is right there. But I like to look at this each night, and during the day just to, kind of see what's going on and, where there's a lot of money going, right? So here you can see that here there's a couple of recent activity, and this is just listed right here in UOA, unusual option activity. And they say unusual stock activity, but UOA, unusual option activity here, unusual option activity. Okay, so Random Barchart, here's the link up here, right? I'll go ahead and put it in the YouTube description as well, right there, so you guys can add that to your link. Okay, to your links, and so cool stuff, right? So this is what we look for. We look for really interesting things, right? So a couple of things we like to look at is the expiration date, right? And we'll talk more about time this week. We're going to talk about news this week. We're going to talk about evaluating also intraday flow, things like that. But here, these are kind of like things I like to look at. So what date you have, right? So one of the things we look for is the most recent expiration, right? So what's happened in this week? So what's expiring on the 7th, right? So here you can see Halliburton, right? So Halliburton got a lot of call activity. So what do I look for option activity? I sort everything by the volume versus the open interest. Okay, so I want to see a high percentage right there. I prefer over 100, right? So and then I also like to see a volume over 5,000, right? 10,000 is great, right? But I really like to see a lot of volume. I like to see a lot of volume versus option activity. What that means is there's some real buying going on. It's significant. The volume versus the open interest means that there's some heavy volume going on versus what was there prior, right? A big increase in what we're in what type of option activity there is, right? So now the one thing I want to mention is that everything here, everything that option activity says has to be taken with a grain of salt, right? So we don't know what's really going on behind the scenes, right? I mean, there could be hedging going on, right? There could be a big position. They might be covering calls, right? Things like that. So, but sometimes it does clue us into some news or some other things that might be happening. And this is just kind of one of those things. Just kind of put a note in the background when you see it. Just kind of keep it in the back burner and maybe put some alerts out there, right? And one of the big things we're going to talk about this week is making sure there's a corresponding chart, right, that makes sense with it. So let's take a look at a few that just kind of happened recently. So let's take a look here. Let's go back to the charts right here. So one that I saw recently was back on the 10th was FireEye. Okay, so FireEye had some unusual call activity, and this is one that really didn't kind of pan out, but I want to show you how it looked. Okay, so back on the 9th, which was this day right here, of July, right, we had some unusual call activity. Well, it kind of makes sense when you look at the chart, right? But one of the things we want to do is we want to pull that chart up and see what's going on, right? So, I mean, just because there's heavy call activity doesn't mean we're actually breaking out on the chart itself. But it kind of clues us into it to be like, hey, maybe something's going on here. So there's a lot of call activity on this day. There's a big candle. There's good volume, right? Now, what happened? They bought the weeklies, right? So these actually expired, I think, like the 17th or something like that. They bought like the next weeks or something like that. So these ended up probably being like they basically got back to break even on the price, but based on theta, right, and all the chop, these things were probably pretty much worthless, right? They probably were cut in half. So just because there's that unusual option activity doesn't mean there's something going on here, but it should cue us into it, be like, hey, what's going on, right? So if we have a lot of calls on this day, we saw this good volume on this day, do we really break out anywhere? No, we didn't get out of this triangle right here. We didn't break out of that, but it gets us clued in. The next day, right, we had an inside day, right? So we ended up closing down on the day, but so it was a red inside day. So I'm not surprised to see the next day breaking it to the downside, right? It's actually kind of cool. You can actually trade against that activity, that option activity. If they're wrong, right, you can actually profit, right, in their against their position. right? Because they're like, hey, this thing's going to go long. Okay, well, if they're long, maybe they have to dump the position. You could actually capitalize on that, right? So it gave a nice down move right there. But then there was a dip buy right here. So this kind of, gets you clued into some activity. Nice doji reversal right here, which started to work its way up to the top of the triangle. So instead of jumping in with them, you could either short it through that inside day low and then look for where the reversal is right here, this low volume pullback to the geometric line, right? If we go back here, there's your triangle right here. Right, you can see where it came from. Corona crashed right through that guy right there. Nice doji, held the cloud. This day here broke above the cloud, and then it gives you a nice move back up, right? So instead of joining with them, you buy it lower, cheaper, and get a better trade out of it, right? That's the idea, right? Now, ultimately, if they got a little bit farther out, right, they would have profited greatly from earnings. Of course, that's a huge gamble, but anyway, it ended up working too. But I'm just going to show you there's some strategies there you can use by looking at that unusual option. Sometimes it can key us in to trades or something that's active out there that maybe we wouldn't have noticed before. So that's FireEye right there. Let's take one more. So SPCE, I believe it was on the 20th. We had some unusual call activity as well, some really, really big call activity. I think that open interest is always important to go back to your open interest and see if that unusual option activity was closed out, right? So I believe on SPCE, one of the things is I looked at the option activity the next day. It was the 20th, had some high call activity on it, right? But it was the next day I looked at the open interest and it was pretty much averaged out right there. So I think they probably just tried to buy the dip that day. They were pretty bullish on the stock, right? And then maybe they dumped it at the end of the day, whatever the case was right there. I think it was only like 3,000 or something like that, 3,000 calls. But it hit the unusual option activity list, right? But this is pretty cool, right? Because if you pay attention to that, right, one of the things we notice is that we had some bullish activity there on the 21st. If you go to the 15, right, so you can look at the intraday time frame, right? If you go back to the 21st, here, this is where we look for intraday setups, right? So we had a beautiful strong move at the open. We cleared the pre-market levels, right? So that gave a nice momentum move initially, and then we got a nice pullback, right? So we go from here. Where do we reverse? Right here, right? We hit about the 382 with an inside 15 at the 8 EMA, right? Okay, so this kind of clues us in. It's like, well, it doesn't necessarily mean that option activity was significant for us, but at least it allows us to focus on the stock. The space has been pretty hot recently. Earnings coming up tomorrow after hours, right? So anyway, but here, another entry right here over the inside 15, holding the 8 EMA for another push to the upside. Low volume pullback right here to the 8 EMA for another pop at the end of the day or at midday. Okay, so just cool stuff like that. That's one of the big things we look for with unusual option activity. Now, sometimes it does clue you into some major moves, right? And so if we kind of go here, right, let's look at a couple things. So there's some big put activity on Apple, right, that expires this week. So somebody's thinking Apple's going to pull back. All right, well, it depends when they bought this one, but they could have gotten crushed, right, on Friday, right, because Apple just kept on working its way up. But some other ones that just right here are Halliburton and T, right? Those are pretty big too. And so let's just take a look at those real quick as we go into this week and let's see how they look. So let's take a look at Halliburton. And here I am going, I'm like, I'm going to only take like 5 minutes to talk about this. It's already like 15 minutes in it, but all good. So Halliburton, okay, so it looks like they're trying to buy the dip right here, right? So we got a spinning top. We're below the 80 MA. Do we look super confident in this? No, right? We're below this geometric line right here, but it could be a reversal. So if we push above that 80 MA, if we get over this 1450 level tomorrow, maybe we can get a momentum breakout through this geometric line right here, which is now here, right? So we'll see how that holds, right? But it might be a trade up to that line. So that's something we can look at. Let's take a look at T. Okay, so T, we're already after earnings, right? And we're consolidating right here. So this could be a drop-based rally potential, right? So this is something that we're going to look at too. Maybe they're trying to buy the dip. There's some big volume coming in here. We got a geometric line right here. So maybe if we get over this 80 MA, we start to push. Maybe we got a thin cloud right here. Maybe we could push through that and get going. So let's see if that unusual option activity ends up playing out. So cool stuff. So keep an eye on Hal and AT&T. We'll see how they play out for the rest of the week. But that's one of the things to look for. Now, sometimes these things do end up playing pretty quickly. But again, we'll talk about it more about evaluating charts. But I think you can see, it's important to these can just kind of give you clues to maybe there's some action, and then go to the chart and see if it makes sense to trade that. So good stuff. All right. Well, that's all I have to talk about here for unusual option activity today. So at this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window. Like I said, we'll try to wrap up as early as possible. 10 o'clock would be like tough, but we'll try to as early as possible so we all get a good night's sleep and another awesome trading day tomorrow. So good stuff there. Let me see if Casey, sorry, multiple emails. If Shirley sent anything, I don't see anything from Shirley here, so hopefully she's doing well. In fact, I'm going to send her an email and see if she's doing okay. Heard from you in a while. See how she's doing. Okay, good. All right, good. So let's take a look here and see. So Mike, what's going on? Happy Sunday. Hope you're doing well and had a great weekend. So let's take a look at Google. All right, so Google is one of the ones that had good earnings, but ended up really kind of just being blah on Friday. In fact, it was a little bit tough. They did buy the dip right off of the upward trend line, and I love when there's confluence right there with the moving average and a trend line, right? So they bought the dip off of that on Friday. Kind of with everything else, right? So kind of in this area right here, inside 15, that ultimately worked its way back up here into the end of the day. So how's this thing looking? Maybe over Friday's highs we can start to push again, but Google's just been such a mess recently. It's a really, really tricky one. So weekly candles don't look good. Yeah, exactly. And then Tesla's looking pretty rough too, but there's some good news, right? SpaceX. I think they have a successful re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere and a good landing and stuff like that today. So that could give Tesla a little bit of hype going into tomorrow. So we'll see if they try to buy it off of that. But other than that, the engulfing day and the high volume red candle are a little bit suspect, right? So we've got some congestion right here. So you have this doji day right here. So if we take out this congestion a little bit right here, a potential support area right here, but a breakdown below here, boom, open gap, trend line. So that's possible on that too. So good stuff. All right, ZEK, what's going on? Let's take a look. So FLDM, let's take a look and see how that's looking. Woo! Big day, penny stock, but big day, upper shadow. See if that gets any follow through the close from Friday. That could be interesting. NEM, huge day. Huge day to see gold really working its way up with the rest of the market there too. So again, it's been very, very odd recently how the gold's going up with the market too. So just kind of crazy stuff right there. SDM, a little bit of an engulfing day right there. Again, we're still holding the 50-day moving average. So look for a breakdown below Friday's lows if it wants to be bearish. And then KTOS. So let's take a look here. Kratos. So possible falling wedge right there. We got earnings coming up Tuesday after hours. So let's see how that holds right here. Right now it's just kind of sliding down the cloud. So let's see if and you got some confluence right there on the moving average. Let's see if we can hold its potential support on that one. Ness, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. Let's say look at Roku. So Roku, super duper tight, double inside day up. It did give a nice momentum move on Friday at the open. Boom, for a quick move, right? And then it's right off of it again. It's like, okay, we're not breaking out. So at this point here, we're just kind of looking at this triangle. We got earnings coming up this week. Premiums are starting to be jacked, right? I was really hoping this thing would break out and give us an earnings run. So we might see a little bit of it, but again, probably selling premium might be the way to go on this one. But we'll see how it goes going into earnings on that. We'll see if we break out of that fresh triangle on that one. LVGO again, forever bullish this thing. So again, just nice hammer right there with volume as it heads into earnings too. AMRN, the fish oil company, right? So anyway, just really, really choppy since the gap down and their patent loss or nonsense, right? This is such a shady company, but and the chart really shows it too. Triangle maybe, even from these lows right here. So just look for a breakout candle. They got earnings coming up, so maybe they'll have something positive to say, something like that. So we'll see. But CLDX, let's take a look. Just kind of chopping around there, still in the clouds. See how that goes. Workhorse, getting really, really tight, guys. This thing is such a tough stock to trade. It's so frustrating, right? You look intraday and it gives you these. This is nasty. Even the down moves are annoying, right? Down move and then a big lower shadow. So this is one I just don't mess with, right? I'm gonna wait to see if we can get a strong candle maybe over this, right? We got earnings coming up pretty soon, so we'll just kind of see how that holds. And then Spot, let's take a look. So Spotify, this was on our bearish radar on Friday, right? So it kind of pushed down a little bit there off the 80 MA, so still kind of blah right here, but it is in a big congestion right here. So just look for a breakout one way or the other on that one. And then FSLY, again, forever bullish, right? We looked at our ABC pattern. It never got down to the cloud, but here we go, ABC, right? So maybe 1, 2, 3 it's trying to work on right here, but nice impulsive move up from that. So let's see if that continues to follow through on that. And then Etsy. Etsy, beautiful move off the prior big candles. So again, back to all-time highs on that one. So really impressive stuff there. And then Shop, of course, earnings recently is still kind of chopping around. It is holding the 8-day moving average, so that's looking pretty good right there for now. And then ALB. Kind of blah right there. Lower shadow, still holding the 50-day though. So let's see how those lower shadows end up playing out. And then you got Dow. The Dow of the stock market. Decent candle on Friday. I like where it closed. I like the volume on that one, so that might get some follow through in that one. Definitely, probably. I don't like to trade those names, but could be interesting. Inside day here on PD. So let's see if we can get over that geometric level and the inside day high on that one. Baba holding on the upward trend line, so let's see if that continues to push. Zoom inside day, pretty tight right here. Again, drama stock, but if it breaks out over that geometric level off the inside day high, it might give a little bit of a pop on that one. So keep an eye on that. NVTA again below the 8-day right here, still holding some prior resistance, now potential support levels. So maybe it's looking pretty weak. Got earnings coming up on this one. Vroom vroom. Wow, Vroom really getting explosive here. Remember we talked about this on the IPOs? Look how it bounced off of the 15 orb high level from the IPO. Where we talked about that, guys. We talked about how important these levels are, right? Boom, 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 right? They came back kind of consolidated right here. Bull flag at the opening day high. I'm telling you, these IPO levels are important. Very, very big levels of interest. Then we exploded off of that one. Vroom, vroom. Very nice stuff. And then pins. Huge day, guys. Gap and go on this one. Why was it a gap and go? Why not? Right? Well, the idea is, wow, this thing just right off the lows, right? So double inside 15 right here on the pre-market, right? You can see how it held those levels right here at the 15 orb low and then just kind of drifted its way up on that one. So nice movement there. Helped that Apple was strong too. So good stuff. Kim, what's going on? Little bubbly. All right, I love it. So Apple closed at the top of the previous channel. So where to next? The sky's the limit, right? So it's cool stuff on these are levels that we provide to our members for our go-to list. But let's get this pulled up right here. So a big thing right here, we got a fresh upper trend line. Okay, again, nice move here, right, in earnings, right? So, and then a big gap up and a gap and go. So why did this thing, the only thing with this one, right, is it waited to the end of the day to gap and go. It didn't do it at the open, right? But what's one of the main things we look at, right? We look at the pre-market highs, right? We got over those right here off of this candle right here. Big volume, inside 15 up, and then they just started buying into it like crazy. So we'll see. I mean, it goes as far as what I love about it is the stock split. Right, so that's one of the cool things. Other than having good earnings, I love the stock split. It's it's really going to get a lot of more than likely it's just bringing a lot of attention to it. I wish Amazon would do like a 10-to-1 stock split, so it'd start to be reasonable to trade again. Instead of playing the game of who can be the most expensive stock, but which makes it hard for investors, right? I mean, young investors like to get in at all those levels. Really ridiculous. So, but Apple's super strong right here. I mean, we saw that unusual put activity. So they might be trying to think it's going to pull back a little bit. But if these futures stay strong going into tomorrow, Apple could gap up and maybe give another move. So, some pretty cool stuff there. I wouldn't be surprised to see some more upgrades on it too. Where to next? I mean, it could go anywhere. I mean, like, one of the big things we might look at here is a extension, a fib extension from here from these levels here. See where it could go. I mean, we're right at the 1.618, but the 2.618 is 471, right? So that's a big move right there. Another thing we could do is, I mean, it is kind of extended over the trend line, right? Well, one of the things we could do is, maybe just kind of look and see. This will probably even correspond with where it is right now. Just kind of look at the how high it is. I mean, it's about at the level of where it's been extended over the trend line before, but it's a fresh new area. So I also wouldn't be surprised to see some consolidation and then maybe another move up. But if they want to get active on it and the market's still strong, could get some more movement. So we'll see how that goes. And then let's say with Square. So Square's kind of hanging in there still in its trend box. So we'll see if it can break out over that eventually, right? Apple, of course, and we'll see this right here. So apps, let's take a look. APPS. Apps with a spinning top right here, so a big upper shadow on that one. We got earnings coming up on this one, so see how that holds right there. Pretty cool name, like Digital Turbine. And then ADY, so interesting ADR on this one right here. Some low volume type stuff, but it is at highs, so that could be interesting too. And then STLND. Yeah, inside day right there, really, really tight range right here. Again, another big ADR type thing, but just kind of stuck in these ranges right here. So not really inspiring yet, but there could be some tactical moves in that range there. Bagash, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. CRM, yeah. So software got hit pretty early on Friday. We were on Microsoft on the short side too. CRM obviously had a little bit of a down move at the open, not as much as like Adobe. Had a nice pullback at the open right there. Microsoft was great, just a beautiful pullback on Microsoft at the open. Then they bought the dip on it, right? So CRM's kind of hanging in there, right? So we'll see how that goes here. So decent candle, decent volume. Again, still kind of choppy. It looks like it's maybe trying to get out of this triangle a little bit right here. So see if we get some follow through on that one to the upside. So definitely a strong day on Friday to overall in the market at the end. So see if we get some pop on that one. DDOG still holding up pretty well too. Adobe, which looked at, yeah. So Adobe again, double inside weak. Again, just really kind of in that choppy range right there. So double inside week. We'll see if that can pop to the upside too, and how far that'll take us. Maybe on a momentum move up on that. But it's been an interesting one. It could be a fun one to trade. And then You showed the chart for Baba. Triple ins. Oh, yeah. Baba with the triple inside week. I know, exactly. So, pretty cool stuff there. We tweeted that out. Somebody mentioned that, too. I just thought it was great. Triple inside week right here. So, definitely something to keep an eye on that. It's definitely getting tight in this range right here. So, see if we can get a breakout one way or the other. Bank of America, definitely keep an eye on the banks, right? Double inside day there, too. This has given us some nice intraday moves, right? Especially the other day was just a beautiful upside move on that one. So so we look for good setups. We had double inside day in the cloud. So let's see if they can move on that. And then Chewy, just fantastic. Buddy's favorite name, and it's been in the trend box for a little bit right here, but another push above that gets up to fresh all-time highs, fresh high, fresh trend line. So we're gonna keep an eye on that one too. Walmart, the Nest, yeah, so Walmart's been pretty weak right here, but they do keep on putting in lower shadows right at those other lower shadows right there, but a breakdown below Friday's low could potentially try to give it a move down to the cloud, so we'll see how that goes as well. Jay, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. J Moss, what's happening? Yeah, so Apple, beautiful candle on Friday. Great trade on that one, by the way. But beautiful trade on Friday. Great volume, so we're going to see if we can see fall to the upside on that one. TLT. Still, no matter, even though the market is plowing up, the bonds are coming up too. So the only thing we got here, right? We're out of that triangle, right? But watch for that right there around the 172 level. Above that, right? We could work our way up to that 179 area. It could be interesting. K-Toss heading into earnings. Maybe it'll be a dip buy on that one. Again, kind of a falling wedge type thing. So we'll see how that goes. And the WKHS again, not really messing with this one. It's just too nasty intraday. Like I can't deal with it. I just can't. So, but we'll see how it goes. It is getting tight in here right now. It's that fresh high right there is giving it this, right? So I mean, earnings coming up. We'll see how it goes. Could be a shot. Rocky, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. Johnson and Johnson. Woo! I tell you, bull flag breakout and then a pullback to that area right here. So let's see how that holds, and maybe it'll give another move up off of that. Maybe it's kind of just like a mini flag. So we'll see how that goes. TSM. South Pacific inside day down, but it held it, so it might try to work its way back up off of that one. CPRX. Penny stock right there, but it's holding this prior congestion zone off this doji right here. So see if we can reverse out the huge volume on that big range on Friday. And then Mark, big upper shadow off of that one. And then SPY pushing through 330. Let's take a look and see. I mean, it's possible, right? So 226. Let's see if they're messing with it here after hours. Where are we? Goodness gracious. Whew, that's big. Yeah, so we're right in this range right here. So it's kind of playing along with the futures right now. So yeah, it's trying to work its way up here. Yeah, possible push over 330. We'll see. Daily chart again, right? Kind of your area right here. We got if it really you got that open gap right there. If we can push strong with some volume over these levels, it's that gap fill has some potential. So looking good on that. Good stuff. Thanks for arguing, Jay. So just watching, all good. Appreciate you tuning in. The next, so you got BKNG. Let's take a look. BKNG holding the cloud so far, lower shadows. So see if we get some move off of that one. Wix, a little bit of Dragonfly Doji on that one too. We got a little bit red, but some decent volume came in there. So let's see if they can continue to push off of that over those highs. W. Okay, so they've been up even after their recent conspiracy. So I guess they've swept that one under the rug somehow. So I guess that's what happens when you're rich. But anyway, so we'll keep an eye on it, see how it goes. I tell you, if that ever ends up being true, see a delisted and nasty. But so far, stock itself strong. Good volume heading into earnings. So we'll see how that goes. Adam, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Take two. Woo! Dragonfly Doji on that one, heading into earnings tomorrow after hours. So let's see if we get any activity off of that one. Jay, you can't see the screen. Oh no! Maybe try to refresh or log back in. Sorry about that. I think it is coming through though. I think you're the only one who mentioned it. So all good. DA, hey! We had a great weekend. Yeah, unusual opportunities is very, very cool. So let's take a look at Zen. Oh, nasty pullback on Friday on Zen after those moves right there. Let's put that on the bearish list for tomorrow. There's a pretty nasty pullback on that one, so we're gonna keep it on the bearish radar for Monday. Give me 1 second, guys. Let's get that going here, there. Woo, we had an active day on Friday, for sure. Yeah, so we had Apple on the long radar for Friday. That worked out well, and Spot was on the short radar for Friday too, and that worked out well too. So game plan, still playing it out, and a lot of it's thanks to you guys for coming up with ideas and sharing charts so we can all capitalize on that. So that's always nice too. Good. All right, so Zen looking a little weaker there again. It would have to push below Friday's lows to get me really interested, but other than that, had a rough day for sure. NVAX. Inside day at the ADMA, so that's looking interesting right there. Acre. Big upper shadow for prior upper shadow, so keep that on the bearish radar if it puts back below the ADMA on that one. And try to splah. Still kind of, it looks like it's trying to break out of that upper channel right there, so just be careful with that one. Geo, what's going on? Hope you had a great weekend. Octa. Yeah, again, not as much as Etsy, but it still gave a pretty good move off of that one. V is definitely on the bearish radar. That thing has just been struggling since earnings, and really breaking down right there. It looks like it's staring at the 200-day moving average. And MA. MA not so bad, right? Not as bad, right? Same sector, but not so bad. Inside day off of that one. Woo! RTX really pulling down a lot off of that. Again, it doesn't help that Boeing's been pulling down too, just kind of bringing down that sector. And PayPal, inside day. It was fun at earnings, but other than that, not much going on right there. It's kind of doing its regular PayPal thing. And Coca-Cola, guys. Huge Coke triangle right here, so it's just kind of stuck in this range right here. Not really much. It's sandwiched between the 8 and the 50, right between these two triangle ranges right here. So again, just kind of waiting on that one to give us some ideas on that. Oh yeah, seahorse pattern, exactly. Yeah, nice. Baggish PDD. Again, I don't trade these Chinese names. They're just too risky and they go all over the place. But sometimes the spreads on these things are nasty. But great day though. Right, I mean, it's got a lot of upper shadows right here. It might come back and test this prior channel, right? It was channeling for a while, broke down, held the 50, kind of worked its way back up here. I wouldn't chase it here, but, definitely a strong day, but just be careful of those names. It can be a little bit rough. Ken, what's going on? Hope you're doing great. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Facebook. So Facebook, again, gap and chop, right? One of the big reasons is couldn't get above any of the pre-market levels for any period of time, right? So just kind of gave us a triangle type move intraday. So again, it's still pretty high. I like how it beat on earnings. I wouldn't be surprised if it started to move again. So we're definitely going to keep it on the radar. It's definitely a go-to list item for us. And SDGR, it'd be nice if premiums get a little bit better too. And Schrodinger, coming right back to the upper trend line right here. Right, so nice bounce off of that one. See if that holds the support. Again, I'd like to see a little more low volume pullback on or a higher volume green candle off of it. So it might just kind of consolidate here, get tight. But if it breaks down below those levels with some confirmation and some volume, it might get interesting to the downside. So good stuff, guys. All right, well, 10:04, not too bad. So I really appreciate everybody for tuning in this evening. I think it's a fun topic this week, talking about option flow, and we'll get to some more cool topics this week. So I really appreciate everybody's questions and chart requests, and I hope everybody has an awesome evening. We'll catch you guys bright and early tomorrow morning on the Good Morning Market Prep video on YouTube. So if you're new here, definitely click subscribe on YouTube and hit the notification button, and good stuff. And check out the links in the description too. So we'll see you guys in the morning. Everybody stay healthy out there, and remember your risk first and stay safe so you can stay in the game. And I'll talk to you